moving up a weight class and, has dealt with some adversity from time to time. And especially in certain matchups where, certain fighters can negate her grappling and keep it on the feet and test that chin. And she's been wobbled a couple times. Caitlin Chukagian just has good volume, and she's a strong fighter for this division. So I feel pretty confident that Caitlin Chukagian's going to give Amanda Hebos a rude welcome into this division. And it's a massive step up of competition, in my opinion. Amanda Hebos, if she goes in there and outscores or dominates Caitlin Chukagian, I'll be absolutely surprised. So I really like the value sitting there at minus 175 for Chukagian.
And I mentioned to you earlier this week when I started breaking down this card, the thing that really stuck out to me is, when you think about Caitlin Chukagian, you think about a tall fighter. And the fact that while she has a 6-inch reach advantage in the height, it's only like a 2-inch reach advantage when we're talking about the actual reach, which definitely stuck out to me. I'll talk about Caitlin Chukagian a little bit later on because, I feel like a lot of times I mentioned death, taxes, and something else. Yeah, that's going to come up a little bit later on in the show. When it comes to my money line, Pete, I'm going to go right to the main event. You've got the former champion, Jan Blachowicz, taking on the rising young stud here in Alexander Rakic. I like Alexander Rakic in this spot, minus 175. He is the betting favorite head in this one. Of course, this is a matchup that was supposed to take place back in March in Columbus. Gets moved back a couple months here for this one. This may be a fight you have to sweat out later on in it, but I just think the younger fighters can get the job done.
Yeah, I think that you just, hit the nail on the head by saying that you may have to sweat it out, because going against Jan Blachowicz in a 5-round bout is definitely going to be challenging, especially because of the championship experience that Jan Blachowicz has. I do favor Alexander Rakic here. I do think that his youth and athleticism and just ability to mix things up, keep it on the feet, mix in a takedown, possibly defend some takedowns that Jan Blachowicz will attempt. As far as jiu-jitsu, I do favor Jan Blachowicz in that particular aspect of fighting. But I do think that the younger Alexander Rakic is going to be able to put together a game plan and win 3 of the 5 rounds. I have an odd feeling that this is going to get stretched out and that it's going to be a low volume sweat fest from time to time. And it could come down to being a closely contested decision, but I'm going to favor Alexander Rakic there as well. So I don't mind getting to that as well. I think that there's value on that line.
Now, as we talk about our parlays, our 3-fighter parlays, me and Pete have got some similarities with our parlays. I'll start with my parlay. I'm going to go with Nick Maximov. He's a sizable betting favorite there against Petrosky. I like him in that spot. I really like Davey Craig going up against Smolka. And also, I'm going to go with, on a female fight, I'm going to go with Andrea Lee. Like what I've seen out of her in her past couple of fights. That 3-fighter parlay. Welcome into the Awesemo.com MMA Live Before Lock. We're here to get you ready for tonight's UFC Vegas 54, which starts in less than 1 hour from now from the UFC Apex there in Las Vegas, which means smaller cage. So something to think about as we're breaking down this slate. Of course, we are sponsored by Prize Picks, which I was on Prize Picks a little while ago and noticing that some of the props we talked about, have changed significantly over the past, which is something that myself and Pete, we always talk about. We talk about the fact of when you see those props you like, you got to hop on it. Like, I don't know, the Caitlin Chukagian significant strikes one, and then some of those fight time props that I liked as well. So that's always why early in the week you got to jump on those props over at Prize Picks. So we'll talk about some Prize Picks props later on in the show. Of course, if you got any questions for myself and Pete about today's slate, be sure to line those up in the chat. Of course, also you can, when you leave a super chat, you do go to the top of the queue. Of course, I am joined by the fighter, Pete Rogers Jr. Pete, hopefully tonight's main event is more exciting than yesterday's Bellator main event because, that fight sucked.
Yeah, I mean, you're bound to have some of them like that, but this card is an interesting one. Not enough fights for me, but I'm excited for some of them, but not necessarily the main event. I don't know. It could be a low volume one, but some exciting finishes on the prelims and some interesting spots for some of these fights. So I'm interested to hear your take.
Yeah, I had someone mention that to me. I was doing my office hours chat over our Discord for our members, and someone basically said, "Hey, should you avoid the main event, or do you feel like it's going to be optimal?" And I think overall, I look at the main event. It's not a priority for me. Like when I think of fights that are a priority for me, I think of Spann Cutelaba, Camacho Torres, Johnson Patrick, those and Grand Smolka, like those to me are my priority fights. And then, maybe the fifth fight would be in the main event.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's everybody's initial reaction is of how, if history repeats itself, it could be a low volume and not optimal fight for, let's say, Alexander Rakic. If Jan Blachowicz comes in and pulls off the upset, even being the former champion, then he's probably going to make it into the optimal lineup, just given his salary. But does Rakic do enough to really make it in? And I think that a finish would get him there, of course, but increased takedown output could also get him there as well. And I think that's a sneaky way to maybe put a stamp on some rounds. We've seen him do it in the past. I'm getting to some Rakic. I'm not like necessarily saying I need to create a group where I get these guys. If I land on Rakic or Blachowicz to include in my lineup, that's okay. Because I do feel like this fight is going to be relatively competitive, and maybe one of these fighters is going to start to pull away as this fight goes on. So, I don't deem it necessary for your lineups, but I do think that it's a sneaky spot where other people might be a little light on it.
Mention about you sending in a super chat. Your question goes right to the top of the queue. I'm gonna get right into these questions, Pete. First of all, we got Sam Pierce. Are you saying Andrea Lee, DraftKings captain, or who do you think? So, looking at the captain contest, to me, who is the potential sneaky captain today? And I hate to say it because I don't feel great about it.
I don't know.
Let me see if he's on the. He is on the captain contest. Alan Patrick.
Oh God.
Could if he goes the takedown route. Now look, what concerns me is the hand speed that Michael Johnson has, which is still it's amazing. But the fact is, if we have seen Alan Patrick go the takedown route in the past, if he could, to me, he's a sneaky play. To me, if I was going to play it safe on the captain contest, I mean, God, you got to pay up for him, but Cutelaba and Grant to me would be the safe place. But I think if you're looking to maximize that ceiling, God, dude, I hate to say Caitlin Chikagian, but if she could somehow pull off a stoppage, but I look at fighters who could take the fight to the ground, and Alan Patrick sticks out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I like him because like the dogs this week suck. That fight sucks. You have literally bottom of the barrel fighters who were trying to tell you who's going to be better than the other. And it's like, I mean, on any given day, Michael Johnson can get taken down 20 times within 15 minutes. And then Patrick just completely gasses out and then gets, obliterated on the feet. And Michael Johnson becomes the winner. And kind of like how Paul Daly was getting controlled in the first 2 rounds yesterday, getting backpacked and just absolutely controlled. His opponent, Giacomo, makes one mistake, allows Paul Daly back to his feet. Paul Daly turns his lights out. So I can see something going similar with that matchup where it's just completely volatile. I do expect Patrick to have plenty of success in the takedown department early. I didn't think that he looked all that great at the weigh-ins. So this is a situation where Johnson's going to have to weather the storm and possibly turn it on late. I did get to this fight a ton. In the captain spot, though, I don't know if you necessarily want to put somebody who's so volatile. I agree with you that the takedown upside is tremendous in a situation like that. I'd probably much rather go to like a Cutelaba sitting there with tremendous takedown, knockout potential, submission potential over Ryan Spann. And Ryan Spann, when he gets hit on the feet, he wobbles quite often. So I feel like, that's another volatile matchup, but I have more trust in Ian Cutelaba than I do Alan Patrick or Michael Johnson. So I'm going to have to, say that I would much rather target somebody at the top than at the bottom.
No question. I'm totally with you there. Of course, I appreciate everyone that's here on a early Saturday evening for the Also MMA Live for Lock. Of course, give us a like and be sure you subscribe also right here on YouTube so you keep up with all of our shows, our DFF offers, giveaways, and so much more. Of course, hit that notification bell so you know when a show is live here on the channel. And if you're not a Awesemo Plus member, you want to get a little peek what's behind the paywall. Today's free premium data and tools are MLB player projections, NHL top stacks, and MMA fighter rankings. I was joking with Pete right before the show here because after this show is done, I'm going up to meet with the fellas to watch Game 7 of Lightning Maple Leafs tonight. I was kind of joking, saying, I wonder if there will be a TV when I walk into the bar that'll have the UFC on. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, it's a hell no. It's a hell no. This card's a wreck. And, for me, it's not a big DFS day. Like, I'm not like super excited to play the slate. I'm obviously going to always play every single slate, but I'd probably take this fight by fight with a betting standpoint. And I'm really looking forward to the first matchup, seeing Nick Maximov against Petrosky. I want to see how good Petrosky looks early on. I feel like a lot of people could be dumpster diving getting to him because he has strong wrestling and probably superior striking in this matchup, but his cardio just does not check out. So in a fight like this against Maximov, who's going to have a ridiculous work rate, feel like we could see Petrosky taper off, and we have seen him taper off. It's just now he's up against a highly skilled opponent who could take advantage of a situation like that. So I think Maximov's going to take over as this fight goes on, either to a decisive decision or I played Maximov via decision / submission. That's basically how I see this going. So, and the line I think was -175. So a significant discount from where he's at, to almost -400.
Yeah, I did notice that line has come down a little bit on Nick Maximov. So we'll see how that one plays out. CS, appreciate you in the super chat. He says, hello, gents. So I personally do not think Petrosky versus Maximov is as far as everyone else here. Am I missing that makes a -360 betting favorite? Look, it's a great observation. I think a lot of it is, I do think the longer the fight goes on, the more I do like Maximov in this one. I mean, look, you know what Nick Maximov wants to do here. I mean, he wants to use his grappling. I think the question is from a DFS perspective is how much can Petrosky continue to get up and Maximov continue to take him down to the ground. It's a huge number that on the betting side at -360. I would go like what Pete has done here is look at the prop bets on that fight as opposed to just a straight up money line.
Yeah. So CS, what's up, buddy? I do think that the odds are wide, but I think the odds are backing the fighter with the better cardio. And we have seen Petrosky use his wrestling and grappling to his advantage when he's exhausted, getting takedowns when, his opponents can't really defend takedowns at all. And I do think that he will take some desperation shots. And when he shoots from outside, he's extremely vulnerable to getting sprawled on, getting put into a guillotine, spun around, having his back taken. And I do think like Maximov can take advantage of a situation like that, but also how does Petrosky look off of his back if Maximov gets in top position? I do understand, and I am friendly with Petrosky's coach, Daniel Gracie. That's a phenomenal camp. And you guys know I love backing Daniel Gracie guys. I don't necessarily put Petrosky in the same category as where I put like Sean Brady and all those other guys a part of Renzo Gracie Philly. So I'm backing Maximov here despite the wide line.
Next up, David Sam, I appreciate you there in the super chat. He goes, is the main a number one contenders you think? Yes, I believe the winner of this matchup will get the winner of Glover and Yuri, which is coming up here just a month from now. They're going to be the card there in Singapore on June the 12th.
Might be. Yeah.
11th,
I mean,
something like that.
I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, unless Ankalaev's really just going to cut the line, but I would have to say that the former champ and a rising prospect within the division and Alexander Rakic, it makes a ton of sense how this is a number one contenders match, unless we always see it of how, like, say the title fight's a competitive fight and then somebody, suffers a defeat. What Glover's done of late, they could maybe give him another rematch if he loses. I doubt it. So I'm going to say it's a number one contenders match.
Doug, appreciates your super chat. He says, always great content from you guys. Thoughts on playing Hadley and Grant in a DK cash lineup? I think Petrosky is live. Grant's a core play for me today. I'm not Hadley. It's one of these things that I really want to see what he can offer up. We saw him, miss weight in the Contender Series, and Pete, you've always talked about this. You really don't love really going huge on guys making their UFC debut after being on the Contender Series. I did find myself getting Nascimento in my underdog pool there. Petrosky being live, I mean, I think it comes down to if he can keep the fight on the feet. I think he's got a good chance. But if this fight plays out and it's mostly a grappling fight, I think it's Maxwell's fight to lose.
Yeah. So Doug, thank you for the support. Every single person in here, thank you for your support, whether you send us a super chat or not. If you send us a super chat, we truly appreciate it. If you could also hit that like button, get us over 100 likes. But Doug, yeah. So like thoughts on playing Hadley and Grant in a DK cash. I'm okay with it. I really like Grant this week. I view that fight as like an under 2.5 fight where either Grant's going to smoke Smoka on the feet, no pun intended, or Smoka will test the ground game of Davey Grant where he has struggled in the past and work towards a submission finish. So I like Grant pretty heavily this week, and Grant by KO is a nice prop. The Hadley against Nascimento fight is interesting because I think Nascimento comes from a more notable gym, trained with Charles Oliveira, the champ, every day. Also banging it out. I saw an Instagram video of them literally just slugging it out in MMA gloves. And he was giving it to Charles Oliveira, and then Oliveira shot a blast double planting right on his back. With all that being said, Nascimento has phenomenal submissions off of his back, but playing jiu-jitsu in an MMA fight can cost you rounds. If you're so comfortable off your back because you have most of your wins via submissions and you don't find that submission and you're underneath a guy that has good pressure and ground and pound, you could be losing. That is my fear with Nascimento. So like, I like Hadley from the top control aspect, but I don't trust his jiu-jitsu enough to stay away from Nascimento. So I prefer Grant a lot more. The Grant and Hadley combination is fine. I got to it a little bit, but I feel like Grant is so much safer than Hadley.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Next up, Samuel, appreciate you in the super chat. He says top 3 favorite captains. Appreciate fellas. Let's keep that over under 5.5 now. Oh man, 5.5 on
what was it before? It was 4.5, and I said over.
I think it was 4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just 5, so under.
I'm gonna say over, and there's no scientific analysis on this. Here's why I say it's over. These are the type of cards that just end up just delivering. You know, it's just one of those things you deliver. In terms of top 3 captains, and I'm, this is kind of Kutalaba would be number 1 for me. Grant would be number 2. And then probably number 3, I would go with Rakic because of the 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those first 2. The third one is a little interesting because, like, I'm big on Chookagian today, and everybody's expecting her to just get a boring decision, and it could happen. But I think the decision could largely be due to high volume and mixing in some takedowns as well, or reversing positions and testing that chin of Amanda Hebos. We'll have to see if I'm on point with that. But like Chookagian being the bigger fighter in this situation, I think that she's going to show out today. So I think I might be take a little contrarian take and go Chookagian captain, because I doubt anybody's going to go there.
Pete, you're my guy. Are you forgetting what we've talked about this week?
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just saying, like, this is like where trends can kind of get broken. Like, I would say for the most part, she's going to win via decision, but I don't trust Amanda Hebos's chin. And I don't know. I'm just saying, even if she doesn't finish her, right, she could get tons of takedowns. Her boyfriend's a phenomenal wrestler, and her wrestling is, I think, pretty underrated. So she could still score well, even in a decision.
Death, taxes, and Kaylin Chookagian. Bro, she's the only fighter in UFC history to have her first UFC wins via decision.
Bro, I get it. Like, I'm with you. I get it. I'm just saying, I think that she could still show out in a decision. Like,
I love your thought process on this. And like, look, when you look at what we're projecting for ownership, I get it. I get why getting there. You just like when it comes to GPPs and Kaylin Chikagian, you just don't feel good. Friends don't let friends let them put Kaylin Chikagian in their GPP lineups.
I guess we ain't friends because I got plenty of Kaylin Chikagian, and I'm cool with taking the contrarian take. My one issue is like armbar from guard, Amanda Hebos pulls off like a stupid submission. That's my only fear because I truly think Chikagian is going to show out. And you guys are killing it with these super chats and all the interaction in the chat, man. We're so happy to have you guys.
Yeah, we'll mention about that those super chats here in a moment. Of course, hear me talking about the ownership projection. When you want to get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content we have out there, you got to sign up for an Awesemo Plus weekly pass. Of course, this gets you access to all the great content we have over Awesemo.com, including fire projections, ownership projections, top fighter tool, NBA ownership. We've got all over there for you. And of course, if you're just looking to play MMA DFS, of course, you can get those weekly packages start at $2.95 weekly. So be sure to check out all the great content we have over there at awesemo.com. Move over to the next super chat. Brandon, appreciate you there in the super chat. He goes, thanks for the entertainment, information, advice, not even playing any lineups. Okay. Just tune in, hear our thoughts. Brandon, man, I appreciate it. Me and Pete, I feel like we can bust on each other.
Yeah. We could definitely razz each other because, Brandon, we've been doing this for quite a while, and we appreciate, your support. Bro, everybody in here hanging out.
Dude, Facebook memories come up. I see some of our old content. I'm like, man, we were pretty young back then.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I saw some of the videos as well. And I was like, dang, we've been doing it for a while, and we've been with Awesemo for a while as well. And shout out to everybody here at Awesemo for making it possible, and you guys for the support. Hitting those like buttons, asking questions, subscribing to Awesemo, all that good stuff. I can't wait. I want a better card, right? Like I'm usually super excited, and I'm excited regardless because there's fights on. I'm mainly a little irritated because of the start time because I'll be going to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to miss like the first hour. So it's kind of lame, but
yeah, I know you like those early cards. I know you do. Let's go. Samuel's got another super chat. He goes, which fighter or fighters will break the slate?
Hey, Sam, I wish I knew, dude. But I'm going to say, and everybody chat seems to love it. Let me see if you agree with it. They really like Tetsuya Taira.
Okay. I was going to mention him a little while ago on that favorite captain question. He was somebody I was thinking about because you look at Carlos. This fight was supposed to take place 2 weeks ago. Gets sick, fight pulled out on day of the fight, and then this fight gets delayed 2 weeks. Then we see he needs additional time to make weight yesterday. That's big concerns for me.
Yeah, it's a major concern for me. Now let me hit you with some stats, and everybody paying attention probably already knows this, but in Carlos Candelario's fight on Dana White's Contender Series against Ronaldo Candido, his opponent went 8 of 15 for takedown attempts. So what is Tetsuya Taira going to do? He's going to look to take him to the mat early and often. Okay. He also had a second Dana White Contender Series match as well, and that was against Victor Altamirano, where some people thought that he won. Some people thought that he lost. Carlos Candelario landed 5 of 16 takedown attempts because he was tired, so he was kind of like desperately shooting takedowns at times, but he was also taken down 4 of 8 times. So in both of his Contender Series matches, he's been taken down 12 total times. All right. That's a small sample size, but I mean, he's put in bad positions quite often in some of those. And I do worry where Tetsuya Taira can kind of backpack him, threaten chokes. He's a crafty submission artist. And I do think that Carlos is, he's a good boxer and has some solid BJJ. It's just, he tends to get a little complacent in some dangerous positions, which against a crafty submission artist is super, super dangerous. So I like getting to Taira today a little bit. It's just an international talent coming over to the States. You always have to see how that's going to really work out.
Young kid, 22 years old.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, look, we know that he wants to get to the ground. JD, appreciate you there in the super chat. It's just getting that good mojo going. Go Bulls. That's right. Sorry. Hopefully we can get this. Well, I will tell you this, wasn't feeling too good in overtime on Thursday night. Was not feeling too good. Like,
Bro, I don't even know what the hell Bolt. I bet you if you made me name 5 hockey teams, I can't do it. I'll tell you, hold on. I got Bruins, Penguins,
Okay.
Rangers.
Okay.
Done. No, I have no idea. Is
Wow.
Lightning? Is that
Yeah.
one?
Lightning. Yeah.
And I'm
Bolts
shocked.
is also
4 or 5. No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stay in my lane, man. I don't know that stuff.
See, are you too young to remember when the Hartford Whalers were around?
No, okay. I was gonna say Hartford Whalers. That's
Okay,
a
all right.
cop-out. Like, because, like, you know, I think my babysitter at the time, she used to take me to the Hartford Whalers games. But yeah. Oh, and the Ducks. Wow, I seem like an idiot. Ducks. Yeah. Well, I guess I know 5.
By the way, I a place I go to, they do 90s theme nights. One of the jerseys I have is a Conway Mighty Ducks jersey.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. I do know that movie. So that's cool.
Yeah. How, if you're our general age, how do you not know that movie?
Right. All right. You get the stamp of approval for that, dude.
Sam on his asking about when's your fight date. That's TBD.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the 2 organizations I fought for are Bellator and CES. So if history repeats itself, it will be for one of those. And if some other cool opportunity comes by, it will be for them.
Samuel has got another super chat. He says, last not least, when we are getting a date for Pete's new bout, and when are we having a lottery for VIP tickets to the event? Yeah.
So, I mean, I love it. I mean, that would be so cool. I would completely appreciate it. Us all just hanging out, get to meet everybody. You know, end of summer, September, something like that. That seems like where my injury, I'll be all right.
Yeah. Or, you know, ideally, if we can get this before the NFL season starts, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, that would make things a lot easier, right?
When it comes to my travel schedule, yeah, no question about it. We're traveling 23,000 miles this season, just in the regular season. So we got a lot of traveling here in Tampa Bay.
Damn.
Let me answer this question we got in over on Twitter earlier from Low Spark. He says, "Hey, Jason, you 2 differ on 4 fights. 2 of them are really key to my lineups. Could you elaborate more on why you both differ on Torres Camacho? I can't see Camacho winning. And Lee Araujo, I don't mind punt points on Araujo, but isn't Lee just better than her right now?" Also goes on to say maybe a little bit more detail on the fight everyone is avoiding, Johnson Patrick. They are flippable in many of my FD lineups, yet many think this will finish inside the distance, so we need to target one. Why are you favoring Johnson? First off, in terms
great
of
questions, right? Like really good questions.
Let me start with the Johnson Patrick thing. I mean, look, I love Michael Johnson's stand-up abilities, but the problem is can he stop the takedown? And you know, I mean, look, if you are Alan Patrick, I don't know why the mindset would be going here and have a kickboxing matchup with Michael Johnson. I think that you got to get to both of them. You're not going to feel confident getting either one of these guys. I mean, let's just be straight up. I do think the higher ceiling is on the Alan Patrick side because of that takedown ability, but you can't ignore, while things are not going great for Michael Johnson, that hand speed is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I have to like openly say, I really have no idea what the hell is going to happen in that fight. I feel like, you know, madness and violence and like crazy things could happen because like we've seen Alan Patrick somewhat quit and where he was eye poked. And, you know, when people get exhausted, they do desperate things, which lead to making mistakes. And, you know, I think, you know, Patrick submitting Michael Johnson wouldn't surprise me at all. Truthfully, Michael Johnson, if he's percentage of the fighter he used to be, this is probably the easiest matchup he's had in the UFC. Truthfully, he goes out there, he smokes Alan Patrick. He could even get that quick win bonus. It's just hard to have faith in either one of these guys. I've literally been burned by Michael Johnson in almost all of his fights, especially when he's been defeated. So it's hard for me to have a confident stand. I'm taking shots on both guys. This is where a situation, like I said, where one could have, you know, 9 minutes winning the fight, and then one person slips up and the other one pulls it off. So I just made a group and I got to both of them.
When it comes to Camacho and Torres, I have been going back and forth on this one all week long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, look, I think it's a key matchup for GPPs, but it's just on both sides. I mean, the one thing, I mean, look, Frank hasn't fought in 2 years, but, you know, there are some defensive questions you have with him. in terms of that. And then you got Manuel Torres making his UFC debut. Like, when I was doing single entries, I was like, oh God. And I just kept going back and forth because they were just so easy to get to.
Yeah.
I would say this. I think I would rather have more Torres because of the defensive question marks I have with Frank. Look, I now in terms of, I know Frank very well, so I want to see Frank win. But it's a high volatility fight to me.
Yeah, I mean, of the underdogs, a lot of ugly spots. If you want to call it what it is and how it is on paper, Frank Camacho should win this fight. You're going up against a UFC debutant, and you have faced legitimate, true competition. Where this guy, even on the Contender Series, it was a strange situation where he threw a combination, kind of poked his opponent in the eye. Referee didn't see it. His opponent kind of backpedaled, holding his eye, and he capitalized and finished the fight. It didn't really seem like a win to me, if I'm being completely honest. Doesn't mean that he's not skilled. Doesn't mean that he can't knock out Frank Camacho. I mean, Justin James kind of caught Camacho cold and came out there and hit him with a 30-punch combination and really surprised a lot of people because Camacho has a strong ground game, never uses it. If I told you that Camacho was going to go out there with a wrestling and jiu-jitsu game plan, pretty sure we would be crushing exposure to Frank Camacho in this matchup. Mm-hmm. I just have zero faith in it. And, you want to go after a guy who's flying under the radar a little bit, and that could be Manuel Torres without having a box score. He has a ton of quick finishes, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing because he could be a little green. So truthfully, watching him on the regional scene was tough because it's so many quick finishes and quick fights. He's talented, but is he tested? No, that's where getting to Camacho as an underdog makes a ton of sense and probably going to become one of the most heavily owned underdogs on the slate just naturally.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when I was looking at underdogs, the people I just kept getting to was Camacho, Patrick, and Nascimento. But I did find when I was doing hand building, I found myself getting to more Jan Blachowicz than I would have expected if you told me that information there on Thursday. I want to mention a Twitter question I just got in, and I thought it was a pretty interesting one, where it says, with all these late cancellations lately, would you suggest lowering overall stock on a fighter you really like, or were those late cancellations more of a fluke? Look, there's no way to handicap that. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to handicap it.
Yeah, the only thing is, I wish that there was some situation where you could sub out a guy who was just canceled. I'm not saying like edit your whole lineup so that you could basically set yourself up for crazy success like a bunch of the Sharks would do. I'm just saying if like a fight is scratched, you could pivot to somebody else just for that fight. But I don't think that there's any way to really prepare for that, to be honest. And to kind of touch on that Andrea Lee, Viviane Araujo fight, I like Araujo. You like Andrea Lee. I do think that people could be sleeping on the takedowns of Araujo. So 8,000 is where like I got to her a decent amount just because of how ugly I think the underdogs are.
Joe, I appreciate you there in the super chat. He says last spot in big GPP with 9.1 remaining, Hadley, Rakic, or one of Lee or Araujo.
What's up, Joe? Thanks for the.
That's an interesting one.
Well, he's leaving salary on the table, which is a good thing because
yeah, I mean,
it's going to be split city today, so you have to.
I feel like in a way to get different, my process of elimination is I'd scratch out Rakic.
Ooh.
And then it would go Hadley, Lee, or Araujo.
I might disagree with you. I might go Rakic in hopes that he either finds a knockout or takes
I'd probably rank it. Hadley, Rakic, Lee.
Okay, and I would go Rakic, Hadley, Araujo. So I mean, we're different, and that's why like creating multiple lineups is key for days like this.
My filler, we're going to get to your super chat here in a moment. Of course, we'll let you know about the sponsor of this show. That is PrizePicks. Of course, you get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up, deposit, and play over at PrizePicks. You get an email within 24 to 40 hours how you can take advantage of the offer that we're giving you when you sign up over there at PrizePicks. Of course, use that promo code Awesemo for an instant first match deposit of up to $100. And they've got a deal going on right now for tomorrow's Maverick game. Luka Doncic,
It's a monster.
his number is 32.5. Oh, if he just makes one basket, his number is half a point. So I mean, it's a free square for you over there. You got to take advantage of what they got going over there with Luka Doncic there tomorrow. But looking at over on the MMA side of the equation, of course, there were some numbers that we mentioned on Thursday's show. Hopefully you got that KG number because it's not there anymore. These fight time props, man. I mentioned Rakic was somebody earlier in the day at 17 minutes, lucky over. Well, that's up to 19. Don't really love that. Looking when it comes to these fight time props here, and I got to pull up to see which props I actually sent over to Chris. Fight time, Torres, Manuel Torres, 7.5. I'm going to say the under on that one, Pete.
Yeah, I say the under on that as well.
And then I'll go over to significant strikes. Rakic at 57.5. I like the over because I think this thing's going 25 minutes.
Yikes. I'm gonna say over just in hopes that it goes the distance. But man, low volume could be it.
How many times do we sit here on a Thursday or Saturday? And I tell you got to hit these props earlier in the week because these numbers aren't going to last, folks. And today is a perfect example. I saw these numbers. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, my good numbers are gone.
Yeah, I have to mention this real quick. So I got tweeted at by one of our listeners. Shout out to BD Holla. He must have us on this TV watching us or whatnot. He says, my wife just asked, why is Daniel Radcliffe talking about UFC on the TV? And then he put a photo of me with Daniel Radcliffe side by side. That's hilarious.
I was at a dinner the other night, a business dinner from my dad's company. And someone said, he goes, anyone ever tell you look like John Cusack? I was like, never heard that. Never heard that comparison.
Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it, BD Hall. I'll tell your wife I said I'll take that as a compliment. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the Spider-Man. Cool with whatever. Don't care.
I mean, if people watched Thursday and some of our content over this week, I mean, Pete was, issue over that eye, taking some good punches to the face.
Hey, we're cleared up now, though. We're cleared up. I mean, it's going to happen. It's like, you're a fighter. You're going to get hit. It's like being a swimmer and getting upset when you get wet. Like, it's going to happen,
Yeah. Next super chat comes from My Filler ARC. Says, Mr. Pete, 3v3, Chukagian, Hill, and Petrosky, or Lee, Hebos, and Janiroba. I'm thinking the latter, but also I don't know anything about MMA, but notice I enjoy watching it if I have a DK lineup.
Well, My Filler, what's up? And appreciate your support. Lee, Rebos, Janiroba, going with the 3 women's MMA piece versus Chukagian. See, the only issue with the first one, right? Like, I like Chukagian. I like Hill to pull off the upset. I don't like Petrosky. That's where I would have to cancel that one out. I do think that there's tremendous upside in a situation like that. Having Lee, Rebos, and Janiroba all coming through wouldn't really surprise me. So I would lean with the latter, despite thinking that the first one has the better 1-2 punch with Chukagian and Hill, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Of course, appreciate you there in the super chat. Of course, I do got my Twitter up, and people can now see it on the screen. That tweet Pete was referencing, and
Chris.
Yeah,
I love how Chris brought it up. Goodness, yeah. Look and they even got it up here now too. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll take it. I'm cool with it. Daniel Radcliffe.
I feel like when the show gets over, you just go, "Hey, Bree, what do you think of this?"
Yeah. I can't wait to show my mom and Bree right after this show, but that's funny.
But I mean, maybe we got to make a phone call to Mama Pete. Who do you like, Torres or Camacho?
I know. I'm gonna text her right now, and hopefully within the next 10 minutes she gets back to me because she's a solid DFS player. I'll text her. Hold on.
Jorge, I appreciate you in the super chat. It says for 150 GPP lineups on DK, any particular groups you suggest for roster construction? And would you be over the field and any fades?
Well, for 115 lineups, any particular groups you would suggest? I would suggest targeting some of these takedown artists. And I mean, it's kind of such like a vanilla answer, but I really like targeting fighters with tremendous takedown upside. So how I would do that is create a wrestlers group where Nick Maximov, Tatsuro Taira, Ion Cutelaba, like getting to one of those, I think makes a ton of sense just because it provides you a safe floor, but also doesn't limit your upside. I do feel like that's how I would approach this slate, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, like, I'm just kind of, I'm always, when I'm looking at just fighters where I can get leverage on the field, as much as I joked about earlier about Caitlin Chookagian, it is a way to get leverage on the field if she can somehow go out there and get her first finish since 2016. I will say this, I'll be under the field when it comes to Rakic. I just, I mean, look, the main event is always going to have high ownership. But I think that, I'm getting the more Tatsuro Taira than I expected I was going to get to.
I mean, Candelario did not look good at the weigh-ins, but let's also not overreact to that as well. If he has the correct game plan, he could keep it on the feet. He could have good boxing combinations. It's tough to have too much confidence in somebody coming from an international league where they've been running through their opposition relatively easily, because in the States, it doesn't go that easily. This could be an exception to the rule where Tatsuro Taira comes in here, backpacks him, chokes him out. And we're talking about an under-owned 9,000 fighter who should have got more exposure. So I'm treating it like Tatsuro has tremendous upside, and Candelario, his best path to victory is kind of like squeaking out a decision, if I'm being honest.
It's something, and I mentioned it because I just saw this question come up saying about what are chances that fight gets pulled. The fact that this is the second fight, that fight is pretty much the way the ESPN television production goes, is that they bookmark 2 fights for every, or 3 fights for every hour. They try to get, 1.5 in every 30 minutes. So those guys are going through their warm-ups right now. They're going to hit the octagon probably around 8:00 Eastern time, 5:00 local time. So I would feel pretty confident that fight's going to take place. It's more of, it's a fight that, if someone just doesn't feel well, I mean, had tacos last night.
I don't even want to talk about that. It's a sore subject, bro, to all of us. 58%. Yep. So they better all fight today. They better all fight today. And I'd like everybody to make weight going forward.
There's no way to handicap that. I mean, there's nothing impossible we can do to sit there and handicap it. I'll throw the question out there. We throw this out every week. Who's a fighter we're not talking about?
Who are we not talking about, team?
I've got a name.
Oh, I got a name too. Say it on 3. 1, 2. Last name only. 1, 2, 3. Janiroba. I really thought we were going to do that. Like Step Brothers, be cool. But no, you went the complete opposite way.
I think it's Blachowicz because, I mean, look, dude, part of my concern with Blachowicz is this fight was supposed to take place back on March 26th. Fight does not happen because of a neck injury. It's now been delayed less than 2 months. What does he look like? He is a former champion. Janiroba's a great name, though.
I was really hoping we'd be on the same page. And to your point, you're absolutely correct by saying that recency bias is a real thing in MMA, right? Like Jan Blachowicz, the former champion, now finds himself in an underdog situation to a guy who looks like he has more potential and upside. And now everybody's talking about the decline of Jan Blachowicz. Is that the case? I think he's competitive. I didn't like how he necessarily succumbed to defeat against Glover Teixeira in his previous bout. I do think that he has been pretty lucky throughout his career, if I'm being honest. I never looked at him as like some amazing talent, but he has more wins than I do. He had a championship. He did a lot more than many people within this sport. So you definitely have to, give him credit for that. I would say that the fighter that I personally feel we haven't touched on is Vernon Janiroba getting Angela Hill down. And I did say how I like Angela Hill from like a decision, high output, winning it on the feet type of situation. But if Vernon Janiroba lands one takedown, Jason, she could submit her opponent with ease. Like truthfully, like her ground game is absolutely legit. And she's in the mid price. So I think people could be glossing over that.
Janiroba via split decision. It just happens in Angela Hill fights, bro. It just happens. Yeah. But like, in terms of cash, I do like Angela Hill in cash because I just feel like I feel kind of safe in that one. And, you know, when I'm playing cash games and especially with DraftKings, it's like, okay, who under 8,000 I look at and say, I think they can score some points. So that's what we'll see. Of course, what me and Pete would love to see after the fights are over, we'd love to see those winning screenshots. We'll see you go into the Awesemo Hall of Fame. Of course, you got to be rocking that Awesemo avatar on your DFS profile. And of course, you can tweet your wins at Awesemo HOF. And of course, if you've not noticed, we've had a couple of good days over here at Team Awesemo, as last night our guys over there finishing first and second over there on DraftKings. It's Tom taking down first place with $100,000, and then of course the boss man Alex coming in second there, $40,000. Unfortunately, I mean, Kevon Looney, what he was able to do with the 20+ rebounds, unbelievable. Also, Dustin taking down $5,000 over there in the NBA contest. Congratulations to you playing a little NBA. And then we had our guy Sean, who works here at Awesemo, taking down first and second place in MLB and taking on a total of $140,000. Congratulations, Sean, over there. Also, Michael taking down second place in an NBA contest. Also, 8-game taking down $100K over there in the NBA. Kudos to you. In the guard taking down over CSGO, taking down first place, $200. Congratulations to everyone that's been going into Awesemo Hall of Fame. Want to see you go into the Awesemo Hall of Fame this week. And unfortunately, my NBA lineups I had the wrong combinations last night. As went too hard on Giannis and Jaylen Brown, combining those two together. Well, can Giannis get some help, man? That's all I'm saying. Can he get some help? You know, it's 1-on-5.
Everybody's tweeting at us and contributing to chat, and it's just been a great stream. We got Low Spark saying he put up the Step Brothers photo and saying almost Blachowicz because you said Blachowicz and I said Janiroba. Oh, goodness gracious.
Of course, if you do got any questions, be sure to line those up in chat. We'll try to get through those before the end of it here. Let's see. Chicken Dinner 1970 score says 11 matches and 3 of them are women's MMA. There's no avoiding Chukagian.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that, right? Like, I try to make my safe parlays every week and like try to build the bankroll and like, all right, well, kind of like I'm like banking on getting another check, right? Like if I put it together a nice parlay where I feel like it's safe money. And I'm like, could Chukagian lose today and just completely like, I don't know. Could that be the curveball of the slate? Because Amanda Hebos is good, but coming up a weight class, and I'm like trying to convince myself that maybe it's a possibility. I would be really surprised. So I'm still back at Chukagian pretty heavily.
I just wanted to look at Janiroba via split decision. It is plus 700.
Damn.
Chukagian via TKO KO plus 450.
I tell you, that's a good line for somebody who is a notorious decision fighter. So,
yeah. So, you know, be sure to check that out. Of course, appreciate everyone that's in here. We got about 5 minutes to go here on the show before we hit lock here for UFC Vegas 54. Hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate. If you're not subscribed to Awesemo, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know his show is live here on the channel. We got you covered tomorrow for everything you got for DFS from NBA and MLB. It's just kind of looking over, make sure Maple Leafs haven't scored. Just kind of browsing over. Of course, got any questions? I'll try to go through some of the earlier questions that maybe we missed here. In terms of this card, let's see here. You think Rakic is going to be optimal considering the other options on the card? That's what worries me about Rakic.
I think it's a chance. I mean, like that's such a cop-out answer, but I mean, we're all kind of in agreement that it's going to be a low volume and low pace fight. What happens if Rakic just puts him in a bad position and capitalizes? He quit. I mean, Blachowicz kind of quit against Glover Teixeira. So, I mean, I'm going to say treated accordingly that no, he's not optimal, but it wouldn't really surprise me.
Yeah. By the way, I'll be up late tonight. I'm going out with the fellas. The Lightning win. It's gonna be a long night.
What's late? 11 o'clock.
Oh no. Later than that, bro. This game won't be over till like 10:30. Well, okay. Unless it goes overtime, then it can really be later.
Yeah. Jason snuggled in bed by midnight, calling it. Set the line.
Bro, I'm gonna text you. I'm just gonna text you.
Minus 180. That's what I'm saying.
No. Much higher than that. I just know. I look. I got NASCAR tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. I'll be here. Don't worry, bro. I'm a gamer.
Okay, all right. So he'll be sipping Gatorade, Pedialyte.
There's always Gatorade in stock. I don't know if you noticed this. Gatorade is now making their own version of Pedialyte.
Oh yeah,
it's called Gator. I saw it last week in Walgreens. Yeah.
No kidding.
Maybe it'll be the new hit thing you see. Let me try to see some other questions here. Last person in DraftKings, Grant or Tara? That's a good one, Pete.
I'm going to say Grant. I've seen more from him, and he hits really hard, and Smolka just got smoked against Vince Morales. So that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Do you think Hill should be a dog tonight? I mean, I do.
Yes.
I do, but like Janiroba striking defensively is not there.
Yeah. What's your favorite underdog?
Viviana Araujo.
Really?
I mean, because I hate them all. Like they all suck. They're not. I hate them all. Like this chat and this stream was made better by our audience and by all the listeners out there. But like you're dumpster diving. Like we're talking about Alan Patrick in 2022. This guy. We're talking about Camacho. We're talking about Nascimento. Like, what are we talking about here? Carlos Candelera. We're talking about Smolka, Petrosky. What are we doing? That's where, like, oh man. I mean, I'm gonna say Araujo 8,000, and it's my cop-out answer.
I mean, I think in GPPs, I'm looking at Camacho and I'm looking at Patrick, just because of ceiling that they could have in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to almost all of them. Doesn't mean I like any of them.
Like I'll tell you, the more I've thought about this, the more like, and this is a ceiling comment, is Maximov's ceiling. I really wonder what that could be.
100
in comparison to say a Kutalaba and a Grant.
I think Kutalaba is pound for pound one of the best values on the slate because he represents what Maximov can do with a cheaper price tag, with higher finishing potential from ground and pound and knockout and all that stuff. So, I mean, like Ryan Spann, the chat's giving him some love. Like if you want to talk skill for skill, I think Ryan Spann's pretty good. Defensively, he's not the best. He can snatch up a guillotine. He can knock out Kutalaba on the feet. He's a big guy. This is light heavyweight. So I got to some Spann, and I don't think that the field's really going to get to him a lot.
Does he have 3-round cardio?
No, I don't think that he does. So, but does that fight necessarily go into the third round? We'll have to see, man. Goodness.
It could end quick on either side.
Yeah, it could. Fred says, my 6-year-old gasped and said he hates them all. I'm sorry, Fred. I mean, I dislike all the underdogs on the slate. I don't mean to scare your 6-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a great point you bring up is when you look at these underdogs, a lot of weeks we say, who is the most talented fighter?
Okay. Let's talk about talented fighter.
It's got to be Jan. It has to be Jan.
I don't think Jan's talented, but even though he was a former champion, it's crazy, but it has to be though. And then like probably Spann too, if we're being honest.
But the problem with Ryan Spann is a fact of, you know, if this fight hits minute 7, minute 8, minute 9, can he keep up with Kutalaba?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that he can, but I sprinkled him in some lineups.
Yeah. But of course, we appreciate everyone that's been tuning in here to the Awesemo MMA Live Before Lock. Of course, we'll be back here next week for the it's Holly Holm and Caitlin Vieira.
Yeah. Yep.
Pull that one out.
Yeah. No, I actually knew, and I was surprised because I never look ahead. So that's going to be an interesting one, man.
Yeah, that's a fight that was supposed to take place a while ago. And Chris pulling up all the
thanks, Chris. Pull it up one more time. How about you? There you go. In case the listeners didn't see it.
Appreciate everyone tuning in here for Live Before Lock. We have reached lock. Good luck to everyone. We'll talk to you next week on the Strategy Show and Live Before Lock. Hope everyone has a great night, and we will talk to you next week right here on Awesemo.com. Have a great night, everybody.